All right, everybody, welcome back. Good late morning, and we are going to be wrapping up our look at free agency today. Last few videos, maybe something changes over the next week, and I end up making a video about things between now and the start of legal tampering. But in terms of the primer, today's going to be the last day, and today is going to be all about offensive line, specifically backup offensive linemen, because we already covered the area where I think we could feasibly get a starter. Center and right guard, that's already done. Go watch those videos if you want to. This is just going to be about backups at tackle and left guard. And obviously, this is not as appealing. This is not as impactful as a starter. But I do want to take a video or two or three to talk about this because I do think this is important. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. All right, so we're starting with left tackle, although understand that when we're talking about left tackle or right tackle, we're really talking about swing tackle. We'd like to try to find somebody that can play both sides because there are plenty of guys who can, and that's also what we had last year. And that's why we're having this conversation. Josh Jones is a free agent. I suspect he's not going to come back. I think he's going to cost too much because he's a little too good, and somebody out there is probably going to give him more than we can. So I think we're going to need to replace Josh Jones. You might need to replace him with two players. Preferably, you replace him with one, but it just depends on who you get. So we're going to kind of lightning round through some of the options for a cheaper backup tackle. And again, it's just kind of a grab bag here. You just pick whichever one you like the most for the most part. And you just hope the guy you pick isn't washed up or at the very least has one workable year left. And then you hope you don't actually need them during the season. Probably the best of this group in terms of his ability would be Braxton Jones of the Bears. He is coming off kind of a bad season, but the previous 3 years to this one, he was actually quite good for the Bears. And he's also relatively young. He's only going to be 27 in late March, so he's entering his prime. He's played a decent amount of football, and Spotrac actually thinks he's going to get a multi-year deal, 2 years, 9.5. He could he could be one of the more higher paid backup tackles in the league. And as for what he did last year, I know people are going to be a little bit concerned about that, but it's only 210 snaps. It's a small sample size, and again, he was a lot better in previous years anyway. So that's kind of your top option. Justin Skull or School. I don't know how to pronounce that. Since he's a Viking, maybe it's Skull. But he was graded pretty well this last year. Played about half the season. Actually, played quite a bit of football last year for Minnesota. And you, according to Spotrac, are going to get him pretty cheap. 1 year, 2.8 million. He's going to turn 30 in November, so age is not a big concern yet, and it's only a 1 year deal anyway. Skull has been around for a while now, and I believe that he played both tackle spots last year, left tackle, right tackle. Always a nice little boon to things when you're trying to make things work for your roster. So yeah, 1 year, 2.8 million. Can't go too wrong. Andrus Pete. This is one of the older guys we'll look at here. He played a little bit last year for the Steelers. Did not get graded out well at all. In fact, you got to go back a couple years to find a year where he was graded well. He mostly hasn't played a lot of football, if we're being honest here, but you go back to 2023, it was serviceable. It was workable. And again, you're just looking for him to have one more year where he can give you maybe a couple hundred snaps and you hope it works. And he's another guy that's played multiple offensive line positions. So Pete, 1 year, $2 million. You're going to get what you pay for in all likelihood. He's going to turn 33 in November. And I'd like to do a little bit better here because I do think this position matters, but Pete is on the table. And then you've got Kelvin Beachum, most recently of the Cardinals. He actually played a lot last year. He was not good. Most things on that Cardinals team were not good, if we're being perfectly honest here. But he played mostly right tackle with a little bit of left tackle. Throughout his career, though, he's played a good amount of both. So if you get him as a swing tackle, you know he can play both sides. The question is he going to do it well? And you go back to 2024, he was serviceable. He was workable, and he played a lot that year too. So you can hope that this year was just kind of a bad year for him for whatever reason. He is old. He's going to turn 37 before the season starts, but he's one of those guys that has done a pretty good job staving off Father Time, although there are warning signs. 1 year, 1.9 million, can't go too wrong with it, but you need him to be serviceable for you. Next guy, Joe Noteboom, another guy who's been around for a minute here, played for the Ravens last year, did not do very well. Only 151 snaps, though, not a big sample size. Previous year, he was at least okay. Previous year before that, pretty rough. So you got to go back pretty far to find a season where he was actually considered good. But again, there is a world where this is the best you can do for the money you have left. And he's going to be 31. Age is not a huge problem yet. Spotrac has 1 year, 1.6. Nothing too wrong with that. I'd like to do a little bit better, but maybe this is about the best you can do. And at least he's a established veteran. This next one's really interesting to me. Vidarian Lowe of the Patriots. He filled in for Will Campbell at the end of the year last season, and he was pretty decent. Got graded okay, played over 300 snaps, basically did his job. You go back to previous years, it's rough, right? It's pretty bad, but 2025, we saw some signs of life from him, and he was important for that Patriots team keeping their head above water with no Will Campbell. And according to Spotrac, he's going to be a multi-year guy, but only 2 years, $3 million. That's $1.5 million per. I don't know if he's going to be that cheap, but he's about to turn 27. Even if it's a little bit more, this might not be a bad idea. I think the Patriots might re-sign him if they can't do a little bit better because of concerns about Campbell. But Vidarian Lowe, there's something here. Our old buddy Stone Forsythe is also on the market. He could work as a swing tackle, although I've always felt like Stone Forsythe is mostly a left tackle, and he should be playing left tackle in the NFL, if anything. And you can see, not graded particularly well, although he did play a lot last year. Year before that, one of the worst players in the league. The year before that, serviceable-ish. Year before that, one of the worst players. We know the Stone Forsythe story. Inconsistent, not really something you're excited about, but 1 year, 1.5 million for a guy who can be a barely league-worthy backup in this league. It makes sense. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard of in my life. And final guy is Yosh Nijman of the Carolina Panthers. He got graded pretty well this last year, played almost 300 snaps for the Panthers. You go back to some previous years, I mean, it's workable, tolerable. It's not terrible. And I don't want to put too much investment into a contract year for him, but 2025 went fairly well. So Yosh, according to Spotrac, is only going to get a $1 million deal. I think he's probably going to get a little bit more than that, but he could slip through the cracks. Also, he just turned 30, so age not really a concern yet. Going to be 30 this year, should be okay. And those are the backup tackle options as I see it. So if you're trying to find a budget option, the last 7 guys we talked about in this video should work. You just find the guy that you like, the guy that you don't think is washed up, and you go with him. I think if you want to go be a little bit more ambitious here, Braxton Jones is your guy. I think Braxton Jones is the guy that you could safely say could actually be a good player for you in all likelihood. And I know he wasn't that good this last year, but again, I'm not too worried about that. And there are going to be some other guys that are worth calling out here. Landon Young, Spencer Burford. I don't want to get into everybody, but there are swing tackles out there. Josh Jones is replaceable. You just have to find the right guy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. More videos coming soon. Let me know what you guys think. It's a pretty loaded crop, but most of them probably don't have much to give you. You got to find the one or two guys that do, and you got to run with them. And I think it's important we locate here. Does this Seahawks team win the Super Bowl if Josh Jones isn't able to fill in well for Charles Cross for a few games? Maybe not. So you need to find somebody that can give you what Josh Jones gave you in 2025. Something like that. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming soon.